I think this course is just so challenging. I mean, all the holes are there, but also at the same time, if you're just a little bit off, they're definitely not there if you're out of position. So it's definitely a type of course where you have to respect it because every hole can be a disaster if you are off. And so, yeah, you have to be on from start to finish. You have to, because there's a lot of birdies to be had if you're hitting your lines. And
the thing about Idlewild is it is a very wooded course. I know the first 4 or 5 holes aren't really wooded, and then obviously hole 16, the par 5 on the back 9 is not wooded at all.
You know, it's probably one of the most wooded courses we play on tour, I would say, up there at least. And so, yeah, just, stuff can happen. You can be out of position real quick, and that can lead to a lot of strokes sometimes.
I really enjoy this course. I really enjoy wooded courses in general. I love the technicality and the challenge and kind of the puzzle of it. I find it just a lot more interesting. So I'm really excited to play here.
If you have a solid game plan and you hit the first gap, you can play really good. So it's not a ton of like super long tunnels that you got to hit and throw a perfect shot the whole way. If you hit the first gap, a lot of the par 4s are pretty short. And if you hit the first gap, you usually get almost 2/3 the way done with the hole. And at that point, it's just a scramble shot. Past the first gap, there's not really any fairways out here. You kind of just throw into a bunch of trees and make it work. But, it's not too many trees to where it's still fair. It's like fair scrambling, if that makes sense. You can't peer the gap and then find a bad spot, I guess is what I'm saying. It's all pretty equally like bad or good, however you want to look at it.
I'm glad to be kind of back in the woods. Like I said, I grew up playing here, so just a little bit of nostalgia and coming back to these courses that I grew up playing.
I love this course. I mean, from the very first time I came here, I was blown away by just how green. I'd never been to Kentucky before and didn't know anything about this part of the country. It was just, I'm always blown away by how beautiful this course is and how like well maintained and like mowed and just like pristine everything looks.
The course, I've seen a lot of changes, mostly just adapting to how much it's being played. I mean, some of these holes look a lot more wide open than they used to, just in comparison to like the trees falling and stuff like that.
If you guys remember, our first year was 2017 and we had it as a par 4. A lot of players complained about it and the scoring showed it. Now it's gotten a lot easier because you lose trees over time. We cleared a lot of honeysuckles, so the scoring has actually dropped lower. But it's only 576. You should easily be able to get into the circle in 3 shots if you do it correctly. If you make a mistake, yeah, it's probably going to cost you because this course has got a lot of teeth. So any kind of mistake is usually going to add a stroke or 2.
For me, it's just about being healthy. I think that as an athlete, you're going to fight through injuries. Everybody does here and there. And so that kind of inhibits your ability to throw shots and, move your body in certain ways that you want to move. Mentally, I feel good. Physically, not so great with my shoulder. I think I just kind of pushed it a little too far in Europe. I think I played 8 weeks in a row. I did play 8 weeks in a row. No breaks, not much time to rest. So I kind of just overdid it a little bit. And kind of got like dealing with like a shoulder strain type deal. It's just as an athlete, that's something you kind of got to fight through and try to not make it worse. That's what I'm here for. And so I'm going to definitely be catering my game to that, not throwing super hard out here. Luckily, we don't have to throw too many like super high powered shots, so I can get away with it. It's like the back of my shoulder, so it's like almost when I lead with my elbow, it's like got that's the motion that kind of hurts the back side of my shoulder. So the forehand's actually going to be something I'm leaning on more this week than normal even. And so just because I think it's going to take some tension and hopefully give my shoulder a little bit of time to heal while still playing. I would think about taking the week off, but it's so close to Worlds. I want to use this as kind of a building block towards Worlds. And so that's kind of a big reason why I'm playing. I still want to come out here and play well and win. I mean, each week's its own event, and Idlewild's a great tournament. It's, a great course that's been a staple on the tour. So, yeah, it's definitely something I want to come out here and play well and give myself a chance to win. Yeah, I'm not looking ahead. I'm still looking this week is this week, and next week is next week. So I'm still got my eyes set on this week.
The drive for me just to win, that's the only thing I care about is winning. I don't, there's not really anything else that kind of drives me, but I just want to win. I just want to, I've always been competitive. It doesn't matter what I do. I just want to win. So that's my biggest drive. That way it doesn't feel like a job. It feels like a competition, which I've always loved to do. And so I think it makes it a little bit easier to have fun out here, not put a ton of unwanted pressure on myself. But the only pressure I have is just, to play good and win. There's no added pressure for like money, impressing sponsors or people. I'm out here just having fun and doing my best I can. I definitely look at the comments and stuff like that, and I want to almost prove people wrong. Sometimes I respond to the comments just because I think it's funny. My biggest pet peeve is like people saying stuff that isn't true about me, and so that's like, then I definitely, I'll let them know like, hey, that's not actually how that went down, or that's not true. If you just watch just disc golf tournaments, you probably don't really know my personality that well, and so if you maybe do a little more research, you'll know a little bit more about me before I guess, getting angry at me when I play just on the course. I can see how I come across on the course. I know it's something I'm trying to fix every single day. But yeah, I think if you have haters, you're doing something right.
Beth at 69.
I just told myself, you just got to will this one in there. Whatever you have, just will it in there.
This man is unbelievable. This is what athletes live for. This is the moment.
I've kind of got past that point of like being, I guess, like one of the newcomers on the tour, like the youngster trying to prove himself just to get a win. Obviously, I've had a lot of wins in the last 2 seasons. I think more than anybody, and so, you know, I've kind of proved myself there. But there's almost like a new level now that I want to prove myself as like the best. That's a much harder thing to accomplish. I know there've already been some talks about, you know, my season kind of rivaling Paul's 2015 season where he, you know, 3rd place was his worst finish. It was his crazy season. He won all the majors. People are saying if I'm able to win, you know, maybe one more major and a couple more pro tours, that it's close to maybe equivalent to, you know, the difficulty of the season he had. So the fact that people are even talking about that just is like a big honor to me. The season's not close to over yet. We still have a ton of big tournaments, so I still need to play really, really good to even get in contention for that conversation. But the fact that people are talking about that means a lot to me, and it kind of shows that my hard work has paid off so far this year.
I know that my game is at a level to where I can win week in and week out. And so, and when I feel like I get myself in contention and don't win, I let myself down. And so that's kind of the mindset that I have. And so I think it's just the confidence in my game, knowing that my game is very much good enough to win on, like I said, on a week in and week out basis. And so that's why you kind of see those emotions come out.
And something that I've realized this year is like, I want to be right about things. Like when you ask me like, who's going to win this tournament? Like I want to be right, but that's not the point. The point is I need to believe it's me, even if I'm wrong. That's been the biggest lesson I think for me this year.
I want to be still pretty young while being known as one of the best players to ever do it. If I can have just 5-10 more seasons like I am right now, keep it consistent like that, I'll definitely be in the conversation. That's been my goal since day one, is be the best eventually. Isaac and I have had this dream of repeating being the only 2 champions the last couple of years. We always joke about, like, you know, we got to keep it between us 2. So Isaac's been looking really good this week. I think he's got probably the best chance of anybody to win this tournament, but, you know, I don't have many expectations. Like I said, it's some woods shots, so if my game's off, I'm not going to be hitting those gaps, but hopefully I can putt well and scramble well to kind of keep myself in it, give myself a chance at least. But, you know, I'd be happy with just a solid finish here going into Worlds. That way I can kind of conserve my energy for the big tournament next week.
My forehand's really dialed, so I feel like it's a lot of forehands off the tee, even up shots, kind of like shaping it around trees and around these corners that this course has to offer. So I'm able to use that, and then obviously use my backhand when I need it. But I think I'm throwing, like, I would say like 14 forehands off the tee, I would say, something like that. And so there's a lot of forehands to be thrown for me, and even upshots. A lot of these holes in the upshots favor the forehand approach coming into the green.
Backhand especially is feeling really accurate right now, so feeling good about it.
If you are playing 3 consistent rounds, I wouldn't say that you have to have 3 really deep scores. I just think anything consistent out here is going to be a really, really good finish.
If you're within 4 or 5, you can still make a comeback pretty easily if you just keep your head in it. Yeah, I kind of look at it like maybe I take some bogeys in the first round or some big numbers. Well, you just got to look at it. You know, those were the bogeys I was allowed to take for the tournament. Now I just can't take anymore.
Started back in '98 when our local club hosted the '98 Pro Worlds, which was the end of Climo's streak at that time. And that's when this park was being developed, and they came to us and asked for design, and that's when Fred Salas and Bob Herbert teamed up. And come 2000, the course opened, and it's been in the top 10 ever since. When we started, which was the second year of the tour, when Dodge, I sat down with him at the Directors Cup, and he had just started his first year. He's like, I want a course, I want Idlewild to be on the tour. We wanted to keep the integrity of the original design. We've had to tweak stuff, we had to move things around, we've had to eliminate a lot of the rough to make it more viewable. But other than that, we're trying to keep it as true, as honest to the original course design that Fred and Bob had created.
Here's Disc Golf World with just a couple more questions. I just got one question for you, Gannon. Not sure if it's your age, your play style, or people are still crying over the time you used to take on your putts, but right now you seem to be the most criticized player on tour. Do the comments and haters fuel you at all?